volume? What do you have here? A couple hundred fish? At least
it might be on the order of magnitude of 400 to 500.
Yellow tanks. I want to say you have what, 20 of them in there or something along those lines?
The original amount of yellow tanks that went in were close to 40. I would imagine there might be 30 left. 30 in here.
I see some blonde nasos.
Pair of emperors.
So that's a pair right there, though?
Yeah. They spawn.
And then we were talking about your
7 Lenardis.
7 Lenardi. One of them is so large, I didn't even know they can get that big.
Neither did I.
And you got a giant copper band. I mean, it's got to be the biggest one I have ever seen.
There's 2. They're from Australia, the bigger ones, and they're really. The Australian ones are better fish, you know.
Bunch of green chromis. What kind of antheas do you have? I mean, there's all kinds you have in here.
All kinds. Pictilis, there's Bartletts, there are...
Square antheas, I've seen some.
There's some squares, there's a lot of Bimax in here, there's Squanopinus.
Man, it's just too many to mention, guys. I'm gonna have to spend the whole night
You like
here.
these grunt flagfids? You ever see them in reef tanks?
Which one?
These grunt flagtails.
I was gonna ask you, I don't know what they are.
They've already tripled, they get big. They're called grunt.
Do you think they're gonna get too big? Are they like brackish fish?
No, but they get big. We might be going fishing in a year or two.
That big, huh?
Next time you come back,
we'll do a video of us fishing. Coral-wise, you're trying to stay away on this tank, like we were saying earlier. You're trying to stay away from Gonioporas, zoanthids, mushrooms. What else do they really pick at heavy, this fish in here?
Anything that is open, brainy, fleshy.
How do you think the tank will look if none of these angels and butterflies were here picking? Because I think the tank looks pretty darn good. I can only imagine.
I think the coral would even be nicer.
Severe weather all across the country as we continue to deal with that extreme heat.
But what makes it feel so excessive out there and kind of puts it over the top is all of the humidity. It makes that 93 degrees feel like a heat index up to 110. And in some spots in the Keys, it can be even hotter than that, like in Marathon, where it feels like 116 right now. That is crazy for even us here in South Florida.
It's game time, fellas.
Let's see how she feels.
You guys see this puppy? 1,050 gallons, just under 1,100 gallons.
Oh, man.
They're trying to sandwich me. This is the most difficult part of the project right now, getting the tank in place.
Listen, can we set it down?
The tank literally weighs 1 ton, over 2,000 pounds, guys.
Watch the corner though. Watch it, good.
I'm ready to call it a day, but not just yet. We have to finish getting everything inside the building, inside the house, I should say. Tank is in place, stand is in place. Then tomorrow we're planning to plumb and do most of the work tomorrow, and then the final touches hopefully on Thursday, most of the day. So there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3-day project. Pretty big one. I've never dove in an aquarium before, especially that big. I haven't dove in 8 years. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. Give me a minute. My heart rate is too high. Give me a minute. We're alive. I told them I was gonna bring him a bunch of corals. We're not lying. I show up with 4 giant boxes. We got big, large pieces because this aquarium is super big. We're acclimating the corals right now. We brought tons of corals, at least 30 pieces. We're super excited. I am thrilled. It's super hot in here. They still use metal highlights. So I'm actually going to be a refreshment to get in there and dive. All right, how do I look? I'm ready.
Superman.
Let's do it. Just to hold me down, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, if anything does come up, quick release. And just a reminder.
What does this do?
So that's gonna pull the bottom open and drop your weights.
This.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unless you have to, don't do that.
Okay.
And just a reminder that this is okay, and this is going to the surface.
Okay.
So up top, we're always giving like, oh, thumbs up.
Okay.
Underwater means not good.
So we're doing good.
This is
Okay.
the answer, and you always answer back. So like, you know, if I give you this, I'm gonna wait for my reply.
Got you. Things we do for you guys, huh? It's been a while, that's it. Just give me a second. Give me a minute. My heart rate is too high. Just give me a minute.
How was it?
Amazing. We're alive. I haven't dove in 8 years. Next month will be 8 years. In the first minute, I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. Like, feels weird when you haven't breathed underwater for a while. It doesn't feel normal, but then once you forget, you're like, I don't wanna leave. As you guys can see, I'm stepping on glass here, and here I'm stepping on starboard. You guys can see right here the silicone gun. We finished the whole side over there. We're working on this side.
Okay, you're done.
Gosh, dude, these rocks are just humongous. This is actually Florida.
Wait a minute, what are you doing in there?
Dude, these rocks are so big, it's the only way to do it, guys. Bust our butts every day. We've been up since 7 in the morning, well sweat inside this barrel. We're making it happen, guys. Stay tuned. Literally took multiple of us to get them in here. We're thinking of not how good it's gonna look right now, but how the core is gonna get the best use of space. How's the flow gonna work? How we're gonna be able to get in the tank and work inside the tank. What kind of sucks is I wish I could have done the aquascape while the tank is dry, but Josh just got a point. The rocks will be too heavy. They're easier to move around with water, but I'm worried about my little toes. So we're being very careful, and very careful not to bang the rocks, bang the glass with any of the rocks, make any chips. All right, guys, we just finished the aquascaping last night. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. We thought it came out really good. There's a lot of caves, a lot of openings. This hasn't been easy, guys. This is a huge project. We've never done something this big. First thing I gotta tell you guys, the tank looks phenomenal. One of the nicest reef tanks I ever seen. What's cool to see is just how big everything is, how large these colonies are. I mean, mainly SPS with a couple LPS and a couple softies on the front. So what are the dimensions? I want to say it's 8 feet.
It's 80 inches by
Okay.
40 inches by 36 high.
So let me start with some of the questions. How long you been in the hobby?
I've been in the hobby for 30 years. And
30 years,
30
old school.
years, old school. Started with halides, of course, and just about 4 or 5 years ago, made the jump to LEDs. So I've been very happy with it so far, and the coloration is great. The growth has been just as great. So people will say you can't grow corals with LEDs, and that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We opened our facility 4 years ago, and we don't use a single T5 or a single metal highlight, and everything is just growing like crazy. I mean, nothing wrong with metal highlights. I still love them.
Right.
But however, nothing that these lights cannot do, and the proof is in the pudding here.
Well, my electric bill loves it a lot better too.
Oh, I'm sure. And the heat and all
And the
that.
heat
you
and the
know.
AC and all of that, yeah.
Cool. So 30 years ago, and what was your first tank, you say?
It was a 29-gallon T5 lighted, and it had a little. No, it was VHO. I started with VHO.
Old school.
Old school, yeah. And then I moved into a corner tank, 90-gallon. It's downstairs, still set up, and
Okay.
actually plumbed into this system. And 15 years ago, I upgraded to this tank. 400 gallons, custom made from a guy in Canada who actually sadly isn't making tanks anymore. But I really love my design because it's got all the wave action is built into this wall. I didn't want to see any plumbing. I wanted it to be clean. It's a
Nice and clean.
peninsula. You can walk around all the sides. It's SPS and Euphilia predominantly. Those are my two loves. I love
Okay.
Euphilia. I love SPS. I have to have an anemone for my clownfish. I actually have raised several batches of the snowflake clownfish. That's mom and dad right there in the magnificent anemone. Yeah, I got corals from everybody. I've got lots of corals from you and
Gotcha.
all around the world.
You have any issues with that anemone there?
Well, it's always going to sting something, but when the corals get so big, it really doesn't do any damage, and he stays put. He did move once when I changed the lights from halides to LEDs. He went walkabout, and I had to.
He's like, okay, I don't like what you did.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
did
change a little
all the
bit.
change lights. I had to kind of gather him up, but I put him right back in the spot I wanted him, and he stayed ever since. I've been lucky.
So I can't help it but to see this Sunset Montipora that is about, I want to say maybe 30 inches by 30 by, I mean, maybe even farther. Because if you want to get technical, it's growing all the way here, all the way down here.
That's 15 years growth of Sunset Montipora, and you have to be careful because it will grow over everything. So I have to kind of control it a little bit. I've gotten a couple corals that have kind of like, I gave up on them. I call it my volcano in the middle. I've got my anemone poking out the top of the volcano.
They're kind of like keeping it at bay a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. The one that I had to have in my tank, as I'm a big Steve Wiest fan from way back when, was the Oregon Tort. And he had that really nice, beautiful blue Oregon Tort. So it had to be like the centerpiece of my tank. So it went right in the center. I've got lots of tenuous. I love millies. So I've got several nice millies. And like I said, I've got all kinds of torches because, I mean, who doesn't love a nice flowy torch?